Hi, my name is Richard Baker, and for my internship, I worked at Marshall Hotels and Resorts. Here is the table of contents. You will get a summary of the company, my goals, my experience, the positive and negatives of my internship, what I would do differently, and how I met my goals and some of my accomplishments. A little bit about Marshall. They're in the hospitality industry. They are a full service management company. Their customers are any hotel that doesn't want to manage their company without like all the work. So like they do all the accounting, the HR stuff, any problems that they change that. They'll do the hiring of new employees, the firing for the most part, and then their competitors are Real Hospitality, Scheduled Hospitality, or Chalut Hospitality Management, and the Harrison Group. Um, More about Marshall Hotels. The amount of employees they have up to 40 employees at the main office and over 300 at the hotels they manage. Their environment is very relaxed and flexible. And their mission statement is first and foremost, we are all here to assist our guests. Everything else is secondary. If you don't see our associates assisting a guest, you're bound to watch them assisting someone who is Mike Marshall. And some current events that recently happened is they closed a hotel in Salisbury. They did sexual harassment training in New York. They opened a hotel in Clemson. And they also recently switched to an updated recruiting website. My goals for this internship were to improve my writing skills, to further my knowledge of benefits, and to become more independent in my work. My main responsibilities were to create job postings as well as maintain them. So I'd go into Indeed or H Careers and post the job descriptions that I was given, and I'd edit the information of how long they'd be up, how long they'd be up, and the maintaining of like how much the company ended up had to pay for the month. And I helped sort through resumes to help find the best candidates. This involved me just looking through the stuff that came in through Indeed and H Careers and like picking out like which ones fit the job description the best. And I found that really interesting because it had like I just like see like some very unqualified candidates and some candidates that were like overqualified for positions, and that was really cool. I would check and update the benefit system. So if you qualified for benefits, I would go in and put you into the benefit system. So you'd be getting the health insurance you needed, and the health insurance you needed. And if you didn't work the proper amount of hours, I would take them out of the system, and then they just would no longer have benefits. I also did a lot of filing for Pat. It was mostly like filing I-9s of new employees because of the new hotel that opened, or from separating out the I-9s and their medical information for their terminations. And then I also helped I also helped set up the new recruiting website. This involved me going in and going into each hotel's website and picking out the descriptions of the hotels and what they represented as a company, and I'd also find pictures to upload to the site so they'd be able to recruit easier. I also gave input on Pat's cost analysis presentation of recruiting. This went through H Careers and Indeed, and also bounty hunting. And so she gave her presentation. It went through about where she was spending all the costs, and the thing that I noticed was that she didn't really cover how she was going to fix the problem or lower the costs. And I pointed that out, and so I thought that was kind of cool. I was also asked to reword acceptance letters, so I'd go through correct mistakes and the wording for the acceptance letters, so they made sense for the position and the place that it was located at. And then I talked with Pat about terminations and why those actions were needed. So if an employee was not responding to their supervisor or not listening to them, she'd go through and she'd first have a phone call with the GM and write down everything that was going on, and then she'd get the sides of other people in the hotel, and she'd analyze like what was happening and whose story was the most accurate and right. And then from there, we discuss about what decision she'd make, which was normally that that employee was in the wrong and they needed to be terminated. I had conversations about what I was learning in class and how that related to what I was doing with their company. Like, we talked about unions because I'm taking a class where we talk about unions a lot, and their stance on unions was pretty much they wanted to avoid unions at all costs because they're a pain to deal with all the regulations. And in my compensation class, I was asking her about like daylight savings and how that affects their compensation system, and also like how their benefits work and what kind of benefits they were giving their employees, like if dental and eye care was like standard and all things. That also tied back to my discussion about unions because in class we had to arbitrate actually with a hotel group, and in a mock arbitration with a hotel group, and one of the things that the union was asking for was eye care and dental, and she actually said that was quite standard. I also helped setting up with the new hotel, which involved me setting up all their training packets, making sure all the I-9s were in there and the medical information they needed to fill out, and I put them in nice little piles for her. And then when she came back from that, I had to scan in all the I-9s and then make sure they were all set up with all the systems, like into the benefit systems, make sure that their paychecks were going to get set up right and that they were going to get paid. Next slide. And then, so what I liked about working with Marshall Hotels was I liked the satisfaction of completing a project and like a job well done, because to be honest, I was very nervous about working there because this was my first experience in like an office and like kind of like being out in the real world. And I liked hearing about why people got terminated and how the company handled it. It's just interesting to me. I think it's interesting what people will do and say to help their friend keep their job, or like just what people do to get fired, because I just kind of like that stuff. And I also liked working with Pat because she was very sweet and nice, and whenever I had a question, she was always there to help me or correct my mistakes. And what I didn't like was I didn't like comparing the benefit databases that we were switching to, because they were in the process of switching benefit systems, so I'd have to go through and match all the employees that were in the system that were not in the new system, or that were in the new system and were no longer in the old system, and like having to like figure out why each one wasn't matching up. I also didn't really like searching through spreadsheets for information. I helped with their cost analysis, so I had to go through each hotel and like search for information on certain types of costs that they were getting, and that was just very time consuming and kind of hard on the eyes. And I didn't really mind filing papers, but it can get really mundane when you're just filing one after the other, and that took time too, but it wasn't that bad. What I would do differently is I would like to be able to have sped up my work, because I took my time a lot to make sure all my work was done correctly. So if I could have sped up and been more punctual with some of my assignments, and I would have liked to be more confident in my interactions with Pat and the GMs, because just like with talking to them and communicating what needed to get put across, I might be like hesitant to ask something or for something that I might need. And to be able to work more with the employee issues instead of maybe going through and doing all the benefit stuff. But Pat did explain to me that, like, in HR, it's something you got different projects going on all the time, and that's why I got such a wide variety of experience, because some days you might not have the issues with the employees. So I ended up doing a good variety of stuff, but I definitely would have liked to work with the employee issues a little more. My goals and my expectations were met. My goals for becoming a better writer was in fact met, because every time I had an assignment given to me, I would type it up and I'd read over it 2 or 3 times to make sure there was no mistakes. And whenever I turned in my projects, Pat never found anything wrong with them when she double checked it. And I was really happy with that, because I am dyslexic and I normally have a lot of trouble with my grammar and spelling. My goal to learn about benefits was also met, because like I said, I learned about the right amount of hours people need, their compensation packages that they get, and how they deal with unions, and all that involved benefits, and I learned quite a lot about that, and I was happy with that I learned so much. My goal for being more independent was also met, but this also kind of hindered me maybe a little, because I was really hesitant to ask questions, but for the most part I did get everything done on my own without bothering Pat too much, and I look at that as meeting my goal too. Some of my accomplishments I was really proud of was I caught some of the mistakes of the new hires for their pay. It wasn't matching up in the system for their job. A waiter was making a lot more than they should be, and I brought it to Pat's attention. And I also found that some employees that were still in the system receiving benefits, and they shouldn't have been in the system still. And I like those 2 goals or those accomplishments, because I felt like I was contributing to the process of something that they might have eventually got on, but I caught it quicker, and I really liked having that input. And I also called and spoke with GMs requesting their papers to be sent into Pat, and I was very proud of this, because I've never really talked to someone that's had that much responsibility in the real world, and I was really nervous at first talking to them, figuring I was just an intern and they weren't going to be nice to me, but they were actually really nice and helpful to me. So it was kind of a learning experience and getting my confidence up, and so I wish I hadn't been so nervous to talk to those GMs, because they were actually really nice people. That's it. Thank you.